Good evening and welcome to the Business Day. I'm Javon Keys. Digicel Group says sales and earnings declined during the fourth quarter of the 2020-2021 financial year, which ended in March. Now, the company's service revenues fell by 2% to $538 million when compared to the same period in 2020. Revenues and earnings were affected as many of Digicel's markets were hit by severe COVID-19 restrictions affecting tourism and general economic activity. Now, the Irish Times reports that Digicel executives told bondholders on a call that they expect underlying service revenues to rebound by 7 to 8% on an annual basis starting in the current quarter. They forecast earnings to increase by 17 to 19%, buoyed by demand for digital bundle offerings that the company now has on offer. Jamaica's gross domestic product GDP for January to March 2021 declined by 6.7%. Now that's compared to the same quarter in 2020. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin says a decline in the service industry due to the COVID-19 pandemic's impact mainly influenced the decline. Now that sector saw a 10% drop in output. The goods producing industries, however, saw growth of 2.6%. For the 2020-2021 fiscal year, the country's GDP declined by 11% compared to the 2019-2020 financial year. The Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, says it will have to significantly increase funds available to borrowing member countries as they seek to meet the Global Sustainable Development Goals SDGs. Now, CDB President Dr. Jean Leon made the disclosure while addressing the opening of the bank's annual Board of Governors meeting this week.
Our preliminary estimates, and I wanted to bring this in there as a sort of teaser. Our preliminary estimates suggest that to reach the goal of halving poverty by 2030 would require more than doubling of average CDB lending to meet the poverty goal of reducing poverty levels by 1/2 by 2030. But that's only one of 17 SDG goals. One of 17 SDG goals.
Now, to offer additional support to the region, Dr. Leon says the CDB will have to change how it does things.
We must properly map the theory of change between those goals and activities and outputs that we must undertake. Second, we must establish the volume of lending that is required on these activities and outputs. Third, we must map the development financing metrics that will get us to those outputs and activities. And then we need to determine the level of resources that CDB must mobilize as part of this effort.
Now, back home in currency trading, the US dollar ended the day selling for $148.52. The Canadian dollar now costs $122.73. The pound is going for $207.02, while the euro closed the day at $178.48. The Bank of Jamaica has decided to maintain the policy interest rate at 0.5%. Now, the decision was based on the Monetary Policy Committee's assessment that despite recent increases in international commodity prices, the current policy rate remains appropriate to support inflation within the 4 to 6% target range over the next 2 years. Now, the next policy decision announcement date is August 19. Now on to stocks. The JSE index advanced by 987 points, while the junior market index gained 31 points. Among the winners were KLE Group, Medical Disposables and Supplies, Fesco, Paramount Trading and Trans-Jamaican Highway US dollar shares. Now on the losing side were Epley's 8.75% preference shares, 138 Student Living Jamaica, The Lab, Sterling Investments and Mayberry Jamaican Equities. And that's the Business Day. I'm Javon Keys. Good evening.